Personnel selected, Dave, toy restoration expert and YouTuber. Channel codename toy-polloi.
Welcome to toy-polloi, parental guidance. This video contains scenes of Lego destruction.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and in today's video we are going to look at restoring this vintage M.A.S.K Piranha. As you can see here, it's in a little bit of a sorry state. It's supposed to be a motorbike and sidecar, but at the moment it really is just a pile of pieces. There's a lot wrong with this, including simple things. Well, I say simple, but you can see the front wheels have broken off and we've got lots of problems with the launcher and the sidecar. There's just a whole host of things to do. So let's get straight on with the project and see what we need to repair. Okay, so here is the Piranha with sly racks. The actual sly racks figure is not in that bad condition, so he actually doesn't need anything doing to him. He's just going to be sitting on the side watching while we try and fix his motorbike and sidecar. We'll start with the motorbike because this seems to have the most serious issues. You can see that the front wheel has snapped off. There's supposed to be a little bracket here which is completely busted. That should hold it in place. I think we can fix that with Lego. I'm going to have a look in my Lego pot, see if there's something there that will work. Then we also have this windshield which is supposed to clip onto the front there, and the clips on that have broken, so we need to repair the clips on that. That's going to be a whole sort of other problem because it's clear plastic, so yeah, that's another thing that we have to work out. Then we have the sidecar and launcher. Luckily I've got two launchers. One of them has clips that are broken and one that doesn't, so that's saved a little bit of work. But these sidecars have some issues as well. They're supposed to have these wings and sort of guns that flip out. This one has got some damage on it. This one isn't damaged, but the wings don't work. They don't actually sort of ping out, so we're going to have to try and take that apart and see if we can fix that. And then yeah, there's a whole load of stickers missing as well. So it's going to be a really fun project because there's lots of little things that need repairing. I think we should be able to get all of it fixed up. So let's start with the sidecar and see if we can get this working first. Here we have the remains of the sidecars that I've got, and you can see what should happen. This is one that does actually work, is these guns and these wings pop out. They lock into place on the back of this launcher. If I just show you here, like so, you can then push those guns in, and if you press this one button on the side, it's actually a two-part button. It looks like it's one, but there's a little left-hand piece here. If we press that, then the wings and guns should pop out like that, and then you press the main one and it launches the rest of the sidecar. That one actually works, but there is a big chunk missing here at the back, whereas this sidecar is in much better condition. It's missing its stickers, but that little mechanism doesn't work. For some reason this is sort of come apart. It looks like this wing has sort of pinged off the posts inside, so we need to open this up and see if we can fix that, because this is the one that I want to use. It doesn't have a breakage here, although it's missing the stickers. That doesn't matter because we will replace those anyway. So we need to open this up, and I've been sort of looking at this off camera to try and work out how to do it. There is just one screw at the front, but it is also glued all the way at the back. I have a feeling we don't need to sort of glue this. We can actually fix this just by removing that one screw. If we open this up, we should be able to get that wing out, and I'm hoping that we can then put the wing back on its posts and get this mechanism working. So let's have a go at that. If I move all of this out of the way, we'll take the one screw out of the bottom of this and see how much the casing comes apart. So that's the screw out. Oh yeah, it is coming out all right actually. I've got a pair of tweezers here, so let's see if we can grab that wing through here. Might be that I just have to sort of open this up and let it fall out. Oh, there we go, both of the wings have fallen out. Now we can see inside. Yeah, I can see what's going on. We've got a larger post here and then a small little post which I'm guessing moves if I push these guns at the front, which it does. So what we've got to do is get these wings back on. So we can see here is a wing. That larger hole goes on the larger post, and then the smaller bit goes in this groove. Let's see if we can do this with this thing apart. It might be a bit awkward to do with the camera in the way. I'm just going to grab this wing with the tweezers, see if I can put it in, line it up with the posts. Oops, yeah, that's going to be a little bit awkward to do with this camera in the way, but I reckon it can be done. So we just try it with my hand here. If I move those a little bit. Oh yeah, that's one in actually. Now I've got the problem, I've got to hold that in place and try and do this on the other side as well. This is going to be tricky. Obviously it would be much easier if we could get this apart, but as I say, I think it is glued at this end. So let's see if we can do this side as well. Get this lined up. I'll try and hold that right hand side one with my other hand. Get that in. Oh yeah, there we go, that's in. It was that easy. Let's push this back together. See if that works. I won't put the screw in just yet. Let's try that. Feels like it's sort of working. Maybe it's jamming on something. If I not line this one up quite properly. Oh no, there we go. That's it. Look at that. That is working. Those wings are going in and pinging out. Oh, that was much easier than I'd expected. So let's put the screw back in on this and we'll test it on the launcher. This can all be done without taking the toy apart. Yeah, that's working. Okay, so here is the launcher. Let's try this. We should be able to push that onto there and that should click in place. If I line this up properly, like so, then those should go in and lock in place as well. That's looking good. And then, as I say, if I press that one button on the side, the wings should come out. Oh yeah, that's all working. That does all appear to be working. It's not locking in place particularly well. It might be that this launcher needs a little bit of fixing, but that does seem to have fixed that. So yeah, we are one step ahead. I'll have to do a little bit more investigation on that, but that does seem to all be working. Everything is sort of clicking and locking in place. I think that's just a bit temperamental. Right, what I need to do now is just remove the stickers from this. I'm going to use a bit of lighter fluid and a cloth just to remove the remains of the stickers so that this is ready to go, and then we can start working on the main bike, see if we can fix that wheel back on. Okay, so now we come on to the front part of the bike where the front wheel and forks have completely snapped off. There should be what looks like a little clip here, and that is snapped, and we need to remake that. And having a look through my box of Lego parts and pieces, I have found these, which I'm not quite sure what they're called, but I will put the number at the bottom of the screen so you can go and find them yourself. And these look like they would make a perfect replacement clip because they just about clip onto the front forks there. You can see that's a pretty good clip. Needs a little bit of sanding, it's a little bit tight, but I reckon if we put two of those together, you can see that that's going to clip on and really hold that front wheel pretty firmly. And then we've got to work out a way that we can attach those in there, which I think will just be drilling some bits out and sticking them in. So we need to do a little bit of modification to these Lego pieces. I've got a round needle nosed file here, and the first thing I'm going to do is actually just sort of enlarge that so that it's a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to use some plastic nippers to start shaping these down, try and make them a bit smaller, so there's just a small amount that we can stick in there. You can see that there's a hole where parts of it has snapped off, so if we cut most of that away, I'm hoping that we can insert these in and glue them in place. It's just going to be trial and error on my part, so I'm just going to get cutting, see what I can make. After about 10 minutes of sort of dremeling and fine tuning, you can see I've actually chopped down that little piece of Lego a little bit more. I've now got a hole in the front here that that fits in really quite snugly. It's a very firm fitting. Just a little bit of glue around that will hold it in place pretty well. Here's the front forks, and those clip on. And there's the bike back together. It's looking remarkably good. It's not quite the same as the original fixing, because I think the original fixing was a little bit wider and possibly a little bit nearer the bike. There's a slight gap there now, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it makes that much difference by the time that is back together. By the time we put this front piece on, which will clip on something like that, I believe, I don't think you'll notice that that has been repaired and it's slightly further forward. So let's get this glued in place, and then I am going to just put a little bit of paint over the top of this. You can see the grey plastic is slightly lighter, so I'm going to mix up a bit of grey paint that's just a bit sort of closer to this darker grey here, and just put it over the top so that it hides that grey piece of Lego. It's really not that necessary, but I think I might as well do it while I'm working on this. So yeah, let's get a little bit of super glue on this and glue it in place. I've got some super glue here. I'm going to put a little bit on the end of this Lego. I don't think it needs a huge amount, because it's really not going to get much sort of force on it, and it is pretty well held in place as is. So just a little bit of super glue around the edge of that, and then we can drop this in place like so. We'll let that set, yeah, and a bit of paint, and that will be done.
Toy-polloi.
And there you go, that's just with a little bit of paint on it, just hides that piece of Lego. Now when you look at this, it's not immediately obvious that it has been repaired, and that's what you want with a fix. So yeah, a little bit of paint on that, I think it's really finished it off. Now we've got to sort out how to reattach this windscreen. It originally was held on by this little clip here, and you can see that one side of the clip has snapped off, and that clips between the two front prongs there. So we've got to replace that, and I've been sort of thinking off screen, how am I going to do this? And I've started making something that I think is going to work. So this is just made out of some little bits of styrene sheet. In fact, this is two thin strips of 1mm styrene sheet with a 2mm thick piece stuck at the end there. So we end up with this sort of little tuning fork type shape. And I've cut this so that it is 3mm across. And that just seems to fit perfectly onto this post. You can see there's a little groove on the top and the bottom. So this piece that I've made just sits nicely in there. You can see the original clip is on that side, and we've got this piece that I can now attach something to on this side. The clip actually needs to be about 5mm at the thinnest point, which is where it sort of grips onto these posts, and then about 7mm at the widest part. So what I'm going to do now is actually stick another piece of 1mm sheet just onto that bit that's sticking out there. So I've got some offcuts here. I'm literally just going to stick that on there, and then that will make it about 5mm thick, and we can see how sort of firmly it grips in place. Then I might add another little lip on the end just to sort of mimic this little bulge here on the original clip. And I think that's probably going to hold it in place. It's a really simple fix. I was thinking it might have to be a lot more complicated than that, and we'd have to sort of drill bits onto the original windscreen, but actually just making this sort of tuning fork shape has proved to be a sort of a very good starting point. So yeah, let's stick a bit of this styrene just on the edge there, just to make this left hand side a bit thicker, and we'll see how that works. So I'll get the plastic weld out, and we'll get sticking. After a little bit of tinkering and fine tuning, I've ended up with this. So that's the tuning fork part, and at the other end you can see I've stuck actually two bits of 1mm thick styrene sheet and made a sort of wedge shape. This now does seem to hold the front forks in place really quite well. So what you do is you put the tuning fork piece into the little gap like that. Then get the front forks and drop that over the top, so you have to push the new piece of plastic through, and then you can then push that forwards until it hits the front. And there you go, the windscreen is now held in place. We can now pop that back onto the bike, so clip that onto the new piece of Lego. You might have to just sort of rearrange the new bit of plastic. I probably could glue it in place, but I don't want to, because I might want to sort of replace it in future. So just sort of pushing it into place by hand like that is easy enough. And there you go. It's all held on. I think that's going to work really well. If we bring in the rest of the Piranha, we can actually clip this together for the first time and see what the whole bike should look like. This is the first time it's all been together. There we go. Not looking too bad. So the final thing we need to do is sort out the stickers. Now with the stickers I normally make my own, but in this instance I thought I'd try something different, so I've bought some online. I actually bought these off of Etsy and they have arrived. They're die cut stickers and they're printed onto some reasonably good quality paper, but the file they've used to print from is terrible. It's really low res. You can see lots of sort of angles and pixelation on the edge. They've used a very poor quality scan, and then they've cut around that, so things that should be round, like these little jets, are not even round, they're oval. These are terrible. I'm not going to bother using those. But Toy Hacks also make a set of stickers, which I have here. These are really nice, but they're printed on silver paper like all of the rest of their sort of Transformer stickers. So they don't look like the originals, but I think they have quite a nice sort of style to them. So I'm going to be putting those onto the Piranha, but I also will make my own versions of the stickers, which I will put available for free on toy-polloi.com, because I think the ones that you can get of the originals at the moment don't look particularly good, and I can easily make a better file that you can download and use for free. But in this instance, let's use the Toy Hack stickers and put them on, see what it looks like. And here we go, here's the finished Piranha with those new stickers added. Those just finish it off and it makes it ready to go back on display. It's been an interesting project just because there's been three very different fixes to work on it. The sidecar was probably the easiest thing. That was just pieces out of alignment. Reattaching the front fork and wheel was a little bit more complicated, but as you saw, Lego is definitely the place to go for that. There are clips of all sorts of shapes and sizes, and often they just work. And in this instance, that clip with a little bit of modification does a really nice job. Then we've had to reattach the windscreen, and for that, a few little bits of styling and some sort of careful thinking, and I've managed to get that in place. And as you can see, we've now got a really nice displayable version of the Piranha. Let's give the sidecar just one final test to check that it works. So on the back, you can see we've got these buttons. If I press this button, it should launch off, which it does, and it works really very well indeed. I actually quite like this sidecar on its own. It looks like a sort of a futuristic spaceship or something like that, so I may end up displaying this separate because I think it just looks like a pretty cool vehicle. It's been an interesting project, as I say, and I have to say a massive thank you to both Sean and to Mark, who both helped me out with parts for this project, so thanks to those guys. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you'd like to help support toy-polloi, then why not think about becoming a Patreon or YouTube channel member. Links to both of those are in the video description. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos.